You have jarring.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dr. Shauri Kutappa, and on behalf of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, I welcome you all this Sunday afternoon for a debate which we call Amrita Oval. The the Amrita Oval was instituted with an intention of sort of uh, creating a little more awareness, popularizing debate also as a form of learning. At Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, we aspire to join hands with institutions, parents, and guardians to provide value based education and mold the character of the younger generation through a system of wholesome learning. Amrita's culture of education hopes to inculcate in our students the right skill sets to be rooted in the values of dharma, karma, and shraddha. Um, yeah, the Amrita Oval, we hope, can demonstrate and aid in learning important skills that can be transferred to any aspects of our life, thereby falling in line with the vision of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, which is education for life and education for living. With this debate, which we are calling the Amrita Oval, we hope to provide experiences that are conductive to life changing cognitive and presentational skills. The Amrita Oval aims to help audiences and learners to see the power of deploying rational, reasoned arguments and compelling evidence in action. It sets an example of ways to elucidate our standpoint by utilizing rhetorical eloquence. Via Amrita Oval, we also aim to demonstrate the skills of researching, organizing, and presenting information in a compelling fashion. Other skills that we believe a debate or something like an Amrita Oval will assist to demonstrate to learners and audiences are things like gaining broad, multifaceted knowledge outside the learner's normal academic subjects, providing an engaging, active, and learner centered activity, improving rigorous, high order, and critical thinking skills, enhancing the ability to structure and organize thoughts, and also enhancing learners' analytical research and note taking skills. So, with these thoughts, with these objectives, we sort of devised and uh, brought, made operational the Amrita Oval. Uh, we've already shared the list of norms that we'll be operating under. I'll very quickly go through the norms as well. The motion of the debate is the topic for discussion. The motion can be either explicit or not so clearly defined. The speakers are given the freedom to define and interpret the motion according to their constructs, but they are also invited to share this definition so that everyone is aware. Sequence, as per the schedule document shared, broadly, we will begin with each participant sharing their thoughts for 10 minutes, post which there'll be a summary round for 3 minutes each. There also will be time for rebuttal in between each rounds. Timing, speakers must have their content arranged so as to use up all the time allotted in the presentation phase. That is when each of you have 10 minutes. The invitation is to ensure that your content is arranged in such a way that you use up maximum of your time. The moderator, that is myself, I'll give you an indication about 30 seconds before the time is to end, at which point speakers could then come to a coherent end quickly, but they must make sure that they include all of the relevant arguments in the speech. At the end of the time, the moderator, that is myself, will ask the speaker to stop. Uh, The moderator of the debate, in this case myself, will be the presiding judge and the sole interpreter of the debating rules, will open, keep order, and ensure that the debate is conducted according to those rules, and shall also give procedural guidance if needed. I will be also responsible for notifying speakers when their time is up. Also here, please do not worry, be relaxed. Please do not worry about whose time it is to speak, when it is to speak, and in the attempt to be aware on those things, just be relaxed. Leave that on me. I'll take on those aspects. Points of information. After a speech, the speakers from each side currently not debating may offer points of information. Points of information introduce a relevant information or directly refute what the speaker has just said. The speaker may accept or reject the point of information being shared. Points of information should be no longer than for 30 seconds or maximum 1 minute each. General rules, no expression shall be accepted which is offensive, personal, or defamatory in nature. When worded as a proposition of policy, the topics requires the affirmative to support some specified action by some particular individual or group. The affirmative has the right to make any reasonable definition of each of the terms of the proposition. If the negative challenges the reasonableness of a definition by the affirmative, the judge must accept the definition of the team that shows better grounds for its interpretation. So therefore, we will also be taking whichever is the better ground for interpretation, we'll take that as true. No revision of position of a speaker is permitted during the debate. Once we have all stated our position, you cannot revise your position during the debate. He who asserts must prove. In order to establish an assertion, the speaker must support it with enough evidence and logic to convince an intelligent but previously uninformed person. Facts must be accurate. Visual materials are permissible, and once introduced, they become available for the opponent's use also if desired. In the questioning period, the questioner may ask any fair, clear question that has a direct bearing on the debate. The debate must base its decisions entirely on material presented without regard for other material which may be present but is not submitted. Any gains made outside the established procedure are disallowed. I would also like to invite the participants to make sure that they have pen and notepads or pen and paper available on their side. It may come in handy to jot down points of the opposing speakers, and if you want to engage in rebuttal, it comes in handy. We've already shared the rules document, etc., but I thought I'll just read it out for participants who are joining us from across India. Right. If we are all ready, I would like to invite speakers one by one for our first round, where each speaker will introduce himself or herself for 2 minutes. The invitation is to share a little about yourself, your institutions, and the stand that you're taking today on the topic. Yeah? Please do not get into your main speech. Do not explain your stand yet. You have time for that. Just state your stand. That will do for now. I invite Ms. Jyoti Ravi. Ma'am, your 2 minutes. Please introduce yourselves. Ms. Ravi, you need to unmute yourself.
Muted, sorry.
Yeah.
I, Ms. Jyoti Ravi, did my schooling in convent, after which I did my collegiate education under Bardiyar University. I've done post-graduation, one in chemistry and the other in applied psychology. I have done my Bachelor of Education also. Done a postgraduate diploma in guidance and counseling from ICTRC. Have also done a certificate level course in art therapy from IIPR Bangalore. Started my career as a teacher in 1990, being with people, understanding, empathizing, enjoying, caring, praying, playing, having fun, accepting and adapting them as they are is my passion. So I chose this profession to reach as many as people possible in my lifetime. Reaching people is by touching their hearts, listening to them, and giving them your time, which comes naturally to me as God's valuable gift, which I use in this profession. Everyone's needs are different, problems are varied. We cannot have solutions for everyone, but we can always lend our time by being compassionate and kind with an empathetic attitude. This is my strength. I do learn scripture, read books, do embroidery, listen to music, sing songs, admire nature, travel, tend plants during my leisure. Basically, a simple and down to earth person. Worked as a teacher till 2006, after which coordinator till 2008. From 2009 till date, I'm working as a principal. At the moment, I'm heading Maharishi Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School, which is located at Chinnavedapatti. Still continue instructional leadership. In this process, I'm of help to students, parents, and teachers as a counselor, as a mentor, and as a friend, of course. Is parental supervision the same as parental control? I would like to emphasize that parental supervision and parental control are the same.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Ms. Aishwarya, I invite you for your introduction.
Hello, very good morning. I'm Aishwarya Rao, Director at the Vivekalaya Group of Institutions. This is my 11th year in education, and I've been heading the Vivekalaya Group as Director for the last 10 years. I'm a second generation educator. The group was started by my mother, Mrs. Prema Rao, and this is our 34th year in the field of education. And our vision at the group and mine also is to bring to the field of education change, positivity, inclusiveness, and the imbibing of values that make our country so wonderful. So our vision and how we work in our schools is that we would like our students to go out as contributors to society and contributors to this amazing country that we have. Personally, I've done my master's in education at the University of Nottingham. I have done transactional analysis, which is a psychoanalytical and a psychological theory, which is what we implement in our schools. On a personal note, I am an animal lover, and I have started a foundation during 2020, which is towards the upliftment of women, their education, and training in job skills, as well as rescue of animals and contributing towards surgeries and sterilizations, etc. So this is a little bit about me. On the topic at hand today is parental supervision, the same as parental control. I will be speaking on the fact that they are both different, that parental supervision is different from parental control. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Aishwarya, would you know Dr. Anand Rao?
Mr. Anand Rao.
Yes.
Yes, that is my father.
Do you know me then? Have we met before?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. It's not ringing a bell.
No problem. No problem. Maybe later.
Have we? I'm sorry. Have we met before? And maybe I don't remember.
Later.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Satyanarayan, I invite you for your introduction. please unmute yourself.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. K. Satyanarayanan. Started my career as a teacher in Staines Anglo-Indian Higher Secondary School in the year 1990. I have done my post-graduation in chemistry from PSD and my MPhil and doctorate from Bharatiya University in chemistry. I have done my MPhil in education, apart from my B.Ed and M.Ed from Annamala Universities. Authored around 15 textbooks for the Tamil Nadu government, matriculation 8, 9, 10, higher secondary 11 and 12. And my publications are there for Tata McGraw-Hill and Macmillan also. Conducted various state level exhibitions, coordinated with state government, conducted seminars and symposium for headmasters. I got transferred from Staines Anglo-Indian Higher Secondary School in the year 2007. From then onwards, I'm the headmaster in secondary for Mani Group of Schools, taking over 3 schools here and 4 schools in Kovilpatti. My area of interest is involving with parent, student, and teachers, a triangular concept. Anyway, today's topic is parental supervision, the same as parental control. I am for it under various categories: single parent, parent with drug addiction, parents with psychotic behavior, students with psychological differences with the parent. Okay, as the discussion starts, I'll get back to you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Satyanarayan. Another comment said, I'm also an alumnus of PSG. And of course, Miss Aishwarya, I just recall, I hope your dad still plays the guitar. Right. We will now go into our mainstream discussion, where I'll invite our panelists one by one for their 10 minutes, where they'll place their thoughts for or against the topic as they have shared. Miss Jyoti Ravi, I will address you as speaker 1 hereafter. Even in the time sheet, you will be expected to follow the slot of speaker 1. Dr. Satyanarayanan, I invite you to follow the time slot of speaker number 2 henceforth. And Miss Aishwarya, I invite you to follow speaker number 3 on the time slot. Again, please be relaxed. Please be comfortable. When one speaker is speaking, the others, if they wish, they can be muted. They can stay off camera. If they wish to, make notes, if they're comfortable making notes off camera, you're most welcome to do so. But the only request or the only invitation is, whoever is speaking, when you're speaking, please make sure your camera and mic both are turned on. Yeah. So with that, Ms. Jyoti Ravi, our speaker number 1, I invite you to present your thoughts. Your 10 minutes begin now.
Thank you, sir, and the other members on the dignitaries on the dais. So let me start my presentation regarding why I have chosen to speak for. Why have I chosen to speak on this angle is a question I should answer here. We are at crossroads now, where our children are exposed to threats which they cannot see. They are fighting emotional battles with unknown hideous monsters, both in our children's world of offline activities with friends and online cyberspace activities. Educating our children to act properly is a great challenge. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them is a famous quote by King Solomon, known to be the wisest man in the whole world. The love for our children will make us display parental styles that combine the right blend of supervision and control. It is showing them how to do things, possibly making it fun, or by giving them a feel good factor, which they have done very well to encourage them in the right direction. It also includes chastising them when they breach the code of conduct. I repeat, chastising them when they breach the code of conduct. This blend will definitely provide affection, trust, and facilitate fluid communication, which can groom safer and more competent children. Groom safer and more competent children. Without parental control, parental supervision can't have any effect other than just identifying their problems in children. We need the right amount of control over the children, over our children, to guide them and help them choose the right path in life and correct them. I repeat, we need the right amount of control over our children to guide them and help them to choose the right path in life and correct them. Benjamin Spock, the world's most famous pediatrician and the author of the best-selling book, The Common Sense Book of Childcare, was an expert in parenting seminars in 1980s. He used to instruct the parents not to discipline their children. He said that doing so would damage children's ego. But the same person, he realized he made a mistake, and in 1990s said openly in a public forum, we have reared a generation of brats. People aren't firm enough with their children for fear of losing their love or incurring their resentment. This is a cruel deprivation that we professionals have imposed as mothers and fathers. I repeat, this is a cruel deprivation that we professionals have imposed on mothers and fathers. No discipline, for example, seems pleasant at the time when the child is corrected, or when the child is checked, or when the child is monitored, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it, is a famous guideline for parenting. When we compare our family to a garden, we can easily compare a family to a garden because everyone is like a flower in the garden. If we use only parental care monitoring alone, it is like saying, I do not wish to infringe upon the liberty of the garden in any way. I give the garden a chance to express itself and to choose its own production and observe it far off. The result will be overgrown weeds and plants in our family garden. Repeat, the result will be overgrown weeds and plants in our family garden, dear friends. I recently read a news article saying a 13-year-old boy committed suicide by hanging himself after his father scolded him for playing online games on his cell phone. Lots of such incidents, rebuked by parents for online game addiction, teens attempt suicide, is an often found headline happening all over India now. We can see this quite often in the newspapers. We might tend to think it resulted because of parental control. In that particular incident, that son had lost almost rupees 91,000 by playing an online game, and the boy had used, not only that the boy had used, but the bank account information of his parents. This was because the parents were only monitoring or observing, but not taking any preventive or corrective action, that is parental control. As many as 25 children ended their lives in Kerala state due to addiction to internet and online gaming in the past 2.5 years, between 2019 and July 4th, 2022. Do you think only 25 families had this problem of digital addiction? No. The underlying fact is most of the deaths and suicides would have been prevented by parents who used the right blend of parental supervision and control for their children, and that's why the death toll was limited to at least 25. This is the same scenario in our state too. So the right blend of parental supervision and control for their children is a very good way of leading the children towards the right stride. When we talk of parental supervision and control, The importance of consistency is very important because only in this aspect many fail. Who, what, when, what can undercut their influential power, that is the influential power of parental control, is when parents use it inconsistently, keeping after a rule on one occasion, but letting it go on another when their attention is elsewhere or their energy is lacking. In that case, what happens is that the children themselves can turn around the parents and say, oh, sometimes they mean what they say I have to do, and sometimes they don't. So, this type, if there is inconsistency in parental supervision and parental control, children also will be going astray. There should be very good correlation between both. The blend of parental supervision and control is very much needed for today's adolescent children. At this stage, it is totally normal and common for children to live new experiences outside the family environment and build their own identity. I repeat, adolescent children, it is totally normal for them and it is a common to live new experiences outside the family environment and building their own identity. They want to spend time with friends, they want to have some hang-arounds. All those things will be very, very common. But it is very important that parents understand that although physically they are very well grown, they are still developing the part of brain that is responsible for decision making called the prefrontal cortex. Developing part of the brain which is responsible for decision making, which is called as the prefrontal cortex, it is still in the process of developing. Therefore, only parental supervision and monitoring will not suffice these threats. Parental control will be definitely needed to curtail and streamline the child's behavior as to know where the child is, with whom he is, what he is doing, and how he spent the money, and with what they spend the money and time. So, the right blend of parental supervision and parental control in blocking inappropriate content in the internet, raising alarms when excess screen time is crossed beyond set limit, etc., prevent unauthorized spending and purchase online without approval from the registered parents. Trying to have a system in place, one warning followed by consequences such as, see, for example, parents can try out like timeout or loss of privileges, or maybe they will be grounded. At the same time, doing this bluntly by invading the children's privacy, like creating fake accounts or games. Some parents try this often. Or openly, what happens is that they talk about the children, what accounts they are maintaining, and all those things. They talk to them in public when the friends are there, or maybe when their relatives are there, which will affect their self-esteem. So we have to be more in control when we check and what we check. So when we are checking also, we should have a blend, a very correct blend, so that we will not be destroying their self-esteem. So child psychologists hit the nail hard by one single conclusion for all the hazards faced by children due to online and offline in discipline in lifestyle. Lack of intervention by parents, identifying risky behavior at the earliest is the main solution. So please, I repeat, lack of intervention by parents and identifying the risky behavior at the earliest is the main solution for bringing the children under safety. I would like to conclude. Children are God's gift, a heritage and reward from God. We are not the owners. We are just stewards, vested with a high responsibility and trust by God to raise a good generation. We need to be accountable and effective stewards. I repeat, children are God's gift, a heritage and reward from God. We are not owners. We are just stewards, vested with a high responsibility and trust by God to raise a good generation. We need to be accountable and effective stewards. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights you desire, and it's possible only through parental supervision as well as parental control. I repeat and finish. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights of your desire, and it's possible only through parental supervision as well as parental control. Thank you, all of you, for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well-paced set of thoughts. I would like to move on now, and I invite speaker number 2, Dr. Satyanarayan. Please unmute yourself, and your 10 minutes are yours now.
Thank you. I fully agree with the points made by Jyoti Ravi. Parental supervision promotes and supports the physical, emotional, social, and spiritual. Even I can say the intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. In my view, supervision is not an isolated activity, and it is helped by knowing what our child is capable of. Children learn best when they are in safe, supervised environments, and it helps the children a safe space. Now, coming to the topic, is parental supervision the same as parental control? My view is it depends on the type of parent. If it is a single parent supervision, it has its own plus and minus. Because if it is single parenting, if it is single parent is supervising the child, it may be mother or father, that single parent may be under stress. So the expectations on the child is based on her or his experience with their better half. In my 33 years of service, I have involved myself in counseling children with single parent. Almost everywhere, based on the problem faced by either the father or the mother, whoever is supervising, their expectation on the child. For example, I still remember 20 years back, an alcoholic father got divorced from the wife, and the wife started advising the son against everything against alcohols, not joining with friends, etc., 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 so on and so forth. So parental supervision is the same as parental control. It depends who is controlling. Both the parents are controlling. Without conflict, it differs. If it is a single parent, then the psychological behavior and the past history with the husband or the wife, everything is involving in controlling the child in the name of supervision. Supervision is a general term. As long as you are a parent, again, I want to emphasize one more point. If the parent is a teacher, again the story changes. I can quote myself as a best example for a case study. I am a doctorate in chemistry. I have authored chemistry textbook for the Tamil Nadu government 11th and 12th, and my textbook was there in the previous new syllabus, Samachi. And more than 300 of my students have got 200 out of 200 in chemistry. When it came to my own son, who is a postgraduate doctor now, he's a radiologist now, I had my own pressure in supervising my son as far as the subject chemistry is concerned. Butterflies in the stomach. Though I am the author for the same book, so many things started creeping my mind. Will it be possible to make my son to get 200? If he loses a few marks, what will happen? What the other fellows will think of me, etc., etc. We are all normal human beings. I think Mrs. Aishwarya Rao will explain more about transactional analysis of a parent who is an author of the book teaching his own son. Anyway, luckily he got 200 out of 200. I got relaxed. So the parental supervision is the same as parental control. This topic itself should be debated for many days. Who is the parent? What is the psychological behavior of the parent? If both the parents are supervising, and if the parent is a teacher and only mother is supervising, father is keeping mom, a controlled supervision by mother, or if the father is supervising, mother is keeping mom, the controlled supervision again, all these things will get into the field. So what I feel is learning from one's own mistake is easier than learning from knowledge imparted by one's parent. As a parent, always we are worried about the future. We are worried about the financial stability. In turn, we are worried about the job market. So in that case, the parental supervision is same as parental control. Very few parents, I can say less than 5%, they have the balanced mind of discussing with their own child, making them understand their strength and weakness, then guiding. It is not an easy task. So, under parental control, students may get chance to hide some of their personal to parents. Student means children. If the teacher is asking a few questions with the student may be free to answer. But the supervisor being a parent, the child definitely try to be in the good books of the parent, maybe because of fear, whatever you call it, whatever may be the reason. Parental control may lead the children disloyal to their parents sometime. They may get fear to share their feelings to the parent. It leads to the children to go away from their parents. All these things happen because it is parental supervision. Parental supervision without parental control is, I can say, quite impossible. An element of control as a parent, in the name of parent, in the name of right to control my own child, in the name of my child doesn't know all these things, my child is innocent. It will not come if you're a teacher. But if you're a teacher and a parent, things will get more complicated. So, my view, parental supervision is entirely different from parental control. Sometimes parents impose their wish on their children, either as a parent or as a parent teacher, under parental control behavior. They don't bother about the children's wish sometimes, knowingly or unknowingly. So the child would dispose betray towards their parents. The enmity between the parent and child would grow slowly. Parental control, mostly the children do not like to be controlled. They like to be guided, but they don't like to be overprotective. A dependent child is a demanding child. I repeat, a dependent child is a demanding child. Children become responsible only when we fail to give them opportunities to take on responsibility. In a nutshell, I can say the greatest gifts we can give to our children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence. Let me repeat, the greatest gifts we can give to our children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we move to the against aspect of the discussion, I invite any points of interests, if there are any, especially from we have only one speaker against, Ms. Aishwarya. If there are any points of interest, you're most welcome to share them now. or if there are any questions that you'd like to put forth, now is the time. Of course, this is an open house. Anyone who has any questions is most welcome. Anyone?
I thought I'd give my bit on why I don't think what my stand is, and then I thought maybe we could speak about it post that, if that's fine.
Yes,
We are
that's
waiting eagerly, including
I
because
seem
it's
to
right
be
from
on
the
the minority.
all right.
Even you're a
Then
minority. We'll
all
like
right.
to hear.
All right. Then we'll skip the crossfire now. We'll keep it for after. Ms. Aishwarya, I now invite you to present your thoughts. Your 10 minutes are yours. Please go ahead.
So I'd like to start with a very popular poem by a famous author called Khalil Gibran on children. It says, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have thoughts of their own. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be, you may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrow may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness." So it's quite a detailed, long poem. So just give me a moment. And for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves the bow that is stable. So this is largely how my view on children is, which is why my take on is parental supervision the same as parental control. I would say they are not the same, they are different, and both are required in different capacities, and both play a different role in raising children. I believe it was Maria Montessori that said, "Never help a child in a task in which he feels he can succeed." So when we talk about control, I think control comes from a place of fear. You control what you fear, what you're afraid of is going to happen, what your child might do, which is where a term like control is used to have power over a situation, a person, an environment. Supervision, on the other hand, lets the child and you believe that you work on a space of mutual faith, that you believe that they will do what is right, but you are there as the adult, as rightly so as the parent, to watch over and to intervene. So intervention, certainly as a part of parenting, is needed. For a child that is controlled, it is that we predetermine what outcome we want. And children are not products from which we demand outcomes. They are there to live their lives. We are there to watch over, support, and intervene, which is why intervention is certainly needed. So one of the, J. Krishnamurti said something that was deeply poignant, which is, when you if a child is looking at a flower, and the moment you tell him, before he knows what a flower is, and the moment you tell him that this is a flower, you have killed the creative process. For in his mind, that could have been 100 different things, right? So when we supervise, that is how supervision is. When we supervise, we allow children to experience. We allow them to investigate. We allow them to reach out and find for themselves things that, and allow them to interact with the environment in themselves, through themselves, and not through our idea of what we want it to be for them. Yes, it is required that children have to be told when they are going to hurt themselves or they are going to hurt others. We have to intervene. We have to correct them. We have to show them what is right. But control is a word that is, I believe, very strong to use, because the moment we want to control something, it is no longer free. You don't believe that it is free. You have taken that person, that being's freedom away from it. And don't we want our children to be free? Because yes, they are ours, but they do not belong to us for us to decide how their lives should be or what it should be. So a society, I believe, that dwells on control, dwells that man can only go towards a path that is incorrect, is a society that doesn't believe in the beauty of humanity, that man, child can be products of amazing things and do wonderful things, because that is what freedom does, right? We know that any society that is oppressed, suppressed, and told what to think is a society that is deeply stagnant, doesn't move forward. So when we are raising children, the path is to show them how to think, not what to think, which I believe also caters to the difference between supervision and control. So coming back to it, while I still believe both are very, very needed and both are intertwined in some way, it is the word control that I do not agree with to a great extent. A word like intervention, I would say, is a lot more suitable in my view of how children are to be treated and to be raised, while parenting is a responsibility that we are vested with as adults, as when children are left in our care, we are vested with the responsibility to show them the right way and to show them the beauty of all the things that things can be, and not approach a child at any point believing that they are lesser beings. They are only smaller for a period of time. And with, I think, adequate supervision, with a supportive environment, with open communication, which is possible only when a child is not afraid, I think children automatically grow towards the good, because they watch you, they watch the world. And as much as we believe that there is so much negativity, yes, I agree. Children, are drawn towards negativity. Their peers also sometimes influence them in not a particularly good manner, which is why they need us. They need us as adults to watch over them. They need us to guide them, right? So it is, that is the word, that we guide them. We do not control them. We show them the right path. We show them how to lead a good life. We show them what is good, and what will do good for them, what will help them grow, would be my view of thinking of how children should be raised. And so, which is why I think, while is parental supervision the same as parental control? I don't believe that they are the same. So this is my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Aishwarya, thank you so much. I will now open ourselves to take on points of interest from speakers, if there are any. Most welcome. Anyone who has any points to share, just make yourself known and unmute yourself. Okay, while we are all getting our points together, and since we are, we are underrepresented in the against department, I'll join hands with Miss Aishwarya and share a point of interest on supervision versus control. I'd like to throw in another term here called monitoring. Yeah, there's supervision as a term. There is a second term, which is control. And I'm just throwing in an additional term here, which is called monitoring. Let's see where that fits in. And let's see if it makes things more spicy. Yeah. Here's the situation. I'm driving my car. I have my parents, who are now great grandparents in ideally, but I have my parents who are in the back seat, and I'm driving my car. And whenever we come out into an open road, that single beep when the car touches 80, there's a single beep when the car speedometer kind of touches 80. So until then, my parents were sitting on the back seat or on the front seat next to me. They have been supervising. And as soon as they hear that beep, they get into a control mode where they say, what was that beep? First question. Second, why was there a beep? Why are you accelerating so much? So there's a lot of questions which come. And eventually, as a result of this, like what Ms. Aishwarya just shared, ma'am, I have never really experienced what it is to drive at 90 kilometers per hour with 3 people in the car. So that's an experience in all my years that I haven't gained. Now, there are 3 aspects in play here. There's a stage where there was monitoring going on. There's a stage where there was supervision going on, and there's a stage where there was control, which came into play. Each has its own aspects, each has its own impact. As a result, now, in order to explore speeds like 85 or 90 kilometers per hour, I had to switch to motorcycling. So that's how I have used my creativity and innovation, figured out a way around it, and moved on. So now I just wanted to throw these out to everyone here, just to sort of bring out the difference between supervision, control, and a third aspect, which is called monitoring. Anyone, any thoughts? Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that was a word that was very needed, and a story that all of us can relate to as well. I think we've all been in that situation where, if you're a driver or, if somebody that drives, automatically where a parent's concern grows as quick as your diameter is getting, faster and faster, the concern grows just as quickly. So yes, I think monitoring is a word that was, which I think will highlight our discussion, and bring it together a lot better. Because I think we were divided on these very 2 specific terms, and our take on it as people was slightly different, and our, outlooks were slightly different on that. So yes, monitoring, I think children do need monitoring, because like I said, in terms of, while we can let them be free and experience an environment, it is our vested duty as adults to watch over them. So there is a difference. So the difference is, okay, let me counter this with another, an anecdote, right? So I know adults who have grown up thinking all dogs bite, right? Now, this is not from learning. It is not from logic. This is from a thought that has been planted from before you could experience or have your own experience of something. A thought that was planted that you carried through, right? Now, yes, the logic of it is some animals bite, whether it's a dog or whatever it might be. Some might not. right? Now, out of fear and in a process to control an outcome that might happen, a parent may have told a child that don't go near dogs, they bite, right? Which, if it is not countered at any point in time, the child grows up to be an adult that believes that this theory is the only theory that exists, right? So I think for me, if you were to ask me between monitoring and control, this would be a good way to kind of decipher it, because I know monitoring would be, listen, please be careful. If a dog growls or whatever, you can use it in whatever context you want, but be careful, be aware, right? Take care of yourself, or uh, look at the environment around you and base your interaction on that, not to blindly predict and to stop you from having any experience, because I have pre-decided what your experience should be. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Satyanarayan, Ms. Jyoti, any thoughts, anything that you wish to add, share?
Yeah, I do agree with Aishwarya Rao's view. Monitoring without controlling is, I can say, humanly impossible as a parent. You monitor the child, you can monitor the child when the child is playing in open ground. You can monitor the child when the child is getting into an electrical equipment. You can monitor the child when the child tries something new, like driving the car. So, as you said, from the back seat, as a parent, maybe out of anxiety, maybe out of your own experience, you try to interfere. You try to correct while monitoring. You cannot leave the child, just keep on monitoring. Let the child do whatever the child wants. I will monitor. The basic definition of monitoring itself to safeguard the child, to make the child to get into the groove of something. It may be the get into the groove of learning, get into the groove of developing good habits. So when you monitor your own child, definitely you tend to correct. Sometimes you may be at your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. When it comes to a question of crucial decision when you monitor, definitely you can get opinion from 2, 3 senior people or peer groups. Then you can go for the final decision. Monitoring always involves correction. Just monitoring without correction. If everything goes well, fine. Otherwise, there will be a guilt conscience. I have monitored. I have met many parents. Father complains about mother or mother complains about father. He is not interfering. I am only controlling my child. But he is not bothered about me. Just I am a mother. And in the other way also. So sometimes the mother expects the father to support her. So in the process of monitoring, we have to exercise our mind in such a way that as a parent, are we monitoring the child with the idea in your mind, I'm the parent, I want the child to be like that, I want the child to be an engineer, I want the child to be a doctor, I want the child to be a true devotee, etc., follow the religion, etc., etc. Or are you monitoring the child with a general idea? If everything goes well, nobody is worried. But in the process of monitoring, when we miss some crucial point, we may be blamed for life. So that thing is there always in the parent's mind. So monitoring without controlling is quite impossible. But to what extent we are controlling, that can be limited. That is my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Miss Jyoti, you had got, I think you had some technical issues in between. Welcome back. Ma'am, please unmute yourself if there are any points of interest.
Sorry. I have muted. Okay. So I would like to just add on only two things. I just had one example about Thomas Alva Edison. I think one day when he was coming back from school, he brought a letter from the teacher. And the minute that he gave the letter to his mother, the mother wept, but she didn't tell anything to him. But what she did is she kept it to herself. And when the child asked the mother, immediately the mother said, your teacher has told, you're so intelligent and it's very difficult for them to keep you along with the other children in the class. So they will want you to make sure that you're becoming a little more developing, and all those things you will do. And then you'll be going back to school. The same mother with her initiative, and later on when he had gone to invent so many things, and that he replied that letter in his mother's graveyard, he went and he read the letter. The same, he that time only he opened the letter and he has read after a long time. And he said, with this type of environment, but I'm able to do so much because of my mom's, perseverance, supervision, control. Like that, there are quite a few examples. The children, the scientists have been either they have a little bit of difficulty, or they face a lot of challenges in learning. That example I wanted to bring. Again, I wanted to this one also. That is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The final one is about self-actualization. So the highest in everything is basically depends upon the fulfillment of all the other needs, which basically every parent gives their children. They strive hard. It is immaterial of their status quo, anything they try to provide. They do a lot of sacrifices, and they have a lot of dreams also. I've got beautiful dreams about their children, and they'll never want to give up on them. Even the world and all the other persons would give up on the children. And whether it is studies or it is health, their aggressive love, I can always tell, aggressive unconditional love, makes them to scale great heights. And this could be done when the children are well guided and cared. And every parent also was once a child. And every child is going to become a parent. So every child who is supervised is well cared, and even in term controlling and guiding, it will help them to achieve their potential. And it makes the person to become more connected, well cared, so he cares. A child who is monitored and well cared, he renders the same help, and it allows him to become responsible because he is guided by parents. He takes responsibility when he moves outside. And belongingness and responsibility will definitely help the children grow emotionally, intellectually, physically, cognitively, in language, as well as socially, emotionally. With this, I would like to conclude that, monitoring is needed, parental supervision is needed, as well as the other one, what do you call it, as parental control is needed. Or otherwise, what's going to happen is, as I told already, like a dog comes, a danger approaches, but now our children are fighting against, the monsters whom they really do not know exactly. And the fight also, they don't realize. Are they fighting also? They don't realize. So because of that, what happens is that they get into troubles which they are unable to come out on their own. So wherever it is, like say, for example, a child, when the child is in the womb, right from that time, what happens is that, I'll just tell one in Tamil alone, Maram Bachavan Tanni Otuvan Solita, there is a saying earlier, but it has changed a lot. So what is happening is, unless and otherwise we care, we tender, we monitor, we guide, we love, we care, and we correct and mentor, it is not possible for them to bloom or blossom into a beautiful flower in the garden of the world. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Taking a leaf from you, suppose I arranged these terms in the following manner. Yeah, I said that I'll take a cue from maths subsets.
Okay.
Suppose I said monitoring was the universal set. Supervision was a subset of monitoring, and control was then a subset of supervision. So if we were to look at it as concentric circles, where the largest circle is monitoring,
the
second circle within this becomes supervision, and the smaller circle inside is the control.
Control.
Yeah? So control is part of the larger picture supervision, part of the larger picture monitoring, but not the entire picture. Similarly, supervision and similarly monitoring. Just a thought, I wanted to drop a stone into the ocean and see if there are any takers for this.
But I would like to bring monitoring as a subset and supervision and the higher, bigger one. So inside that, you could have monitoring as well as control.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
My view is when you start supervising, knowingly or unknowingly, you start controlling. It may be right or wrong, it is a parental attitude. When you start supervising as a parent, so a lot of things are imbibed in your mind about your child. I know my child, who he or she is capable of doing this or that, etc., etc., etc. All these things are there preoccupied in the minds of parents. Vice versa for the child also. My father will not allow. My father will control. So I will not tell the truth to the father or mother. So when you start supervising, the controlling comes automatically. And whether it is right or not, it is $1 billion question. It may be right sometime. It may go wrong sometime. It depends. But when you supervise as a parent, definitely an element of control will be there. Otherwise, you are not a parent. That's what I can say. You're not advising. You're not monitoring in your workplace. As an administrator, I'm monitoring around 300 staff. I'm monitoring, and sometimes I am unable to control about their behavior, about the way in which they conduct themselves, about their dressing, about their peer group behavior. Yet I am monitoring them. Am I controlling them? No, I cannot. I need not. But as a parent, as a father, if I start monitoring my child, the element of control, it may be due to the thought of, as Mrs. Rao said, I'm owning my child. It may be wrong, 100% it may be wrong. But that is a fact I'm telling. As a parent, maybe after attaining the age of 75, 80, just keep quiet. I'm not involving anything. I just leaving my children to do whatever they want. Yet I am interested in knowing the name, what they are going to keep for my grandchild. So again, it is there in our society, being an Indian. It is there always. Because we are the only community used to save, plan for great-grandchildren. It is imbibed in our mind. I think we are helpless. Let us take it in the positive way and keep moving. Thank you.
Dr. Satyanarayan, thank you so much. Ms. Aishwarya, please go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I agree that there is, especially in our culture, there is such a, what do I say? Parenting is a job that transcends beyond one generation, and it's an all-consuming job. It's unlike other cultures where the moment you're 16 or 18, you're let out and you're not considered as a part of your parents' responsibility. I know in our culture we continue to parent children who become adults well into their adulthood and into their independent lives. So I agree with sir on what he said in terms of it's something that's very much a part of our culture, and it's a part of our we are very intertwined that way with our children, because rather than sometimes this is just a notion that I'm sharing on how society at large here looks at children. is not necessarily that they are living independent lives, but you get to live life again through them, right? So it's just a different way of looking at children, and which is why you do not want them to experience what you have experienced, perhaps that was painful, that was, something that was bad. You want to prevent that from happening to them, and you want to fill their lives with only good experiences, because every experience of theirs is almost like a second innings for you, and you look at it that way. So I just had just one little notion that I'd like to share with you all, and this is about how we how we clip things for it to become the shape that we want, especially with our children, like how we trim their thoughts. So I know most of us, we know bonsai is a tree pruning process that allows what would have grown to be a very large tree to making it into a miniature and directing it in the way that we want the stems to grow, right? So what is left at the end of it is that it is a beautiful looking tree, but much smaller than what it could have been, right? And in a style that you wanted it to be. So people who do bonsai and who plant trees spend years of their life designing how this tree is going to grow, and what shape it's going to take. And it's a very interesting analogy if you connect it to parenting, because sometimes we are so busy trimming the tree that we forget that we are stunting its growth. And what might at the end be a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful thing. It's one way of looking at it and saying maybe that was supposed to be a large tree that was going to give shade to a lot of people. I mean, this is just a context I thought I'd share. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Before we conclude phase 3, I invite all speakers to take a minute to share their final concluding thoughts. Could be in the form of a summary, or could be in the form of a statement, which sort of which will be left to resonate. I invite speaker number 1. Please share your final thoughts, if any, of course.
Had stressed earlier, I would like to emphasize parental supervision and parental control are the same, because what happens is at the end, you wish your dreams, it is made experienced by the children, and they become expoundly benefited, and they develop and they become what they want exactly. And we are almost through them guiding. So I feel personally, parental supervision and parental control to certain or to the maximum extent decides the child's future also.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Satyanarayan, you for your final thoughts.
Yeah. In a nutshell, I can say all parents wish to do the best thing for their children. All parents wish to do the best thing for their children, no doubt. But sometimes they don't even understand that whether they are doing the right thing or not. They should keep away their whims and fancies. They should keep away what they didn't get in their life. I didn't become a doctor. I want my son to be a doctor. I didn't become an engineer. I want my daughter to be an engineer. I could not become a chartered accountant like that. Sometimes they become overprotective, or sometimes they feel neglected if they are not controlling them. I want to control my child. My child should listen to me. Otherwise, the parent feel neglected. This attitude should change from parents for the betterment of the child, and on the other side for the parent also. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, Ms. Aishwarya, I invite you for your closing thoughts.
Yes, so to conclude, I would still say that I think if we raise our children with faith and not fear, and if we allow them to experience the world by looking at it through lens of good and being examples of the good that we want our children to experience and we want them to be, I think we will raise empathetic human beings. I think we will raise positive contributors to society. And I think also when they see something that is good, you always want to take that forward, right? And all of us, I think, are happiest when we feel safe and we feel free. So if we want our children to be the best of themselves, we should first trust in their ability for them to believe in the best for themselves and aspire and support them with our love, our intervention where it must be, where it is needed, we must intervene, but be of support and claim their aspirations and go with them on the journey that they are living for themselves. So that would be mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the session as much as we did getting it together. One invitation, we made sure that, the transcripts or the documents on how this debate was conducted. This debate was conducted on the broad lines of what's known as the Texas debate or the Texas Parliament debate. It was conducted on those broad lines. We had 3 rounds. The first round is where participants share their thoughts with rebuttal interspersed in between. Second round is for the summary, where people, debate on the points of interest that are shared. And the third round is your final concluding thoughts. The invitation is, you can take this to your institutions. You can see if you'd like to bring this about in your institutions, in your cities, in any form. The broader aim or the broader perspective was to encourage debating and also, bring to light its uses as a learning tool. Once again, as at the closure, I thank you all for spending Sunday afternoon, which is usually reserved for. I know Mr. Anand reserves this time for beer and biryani. Yeah. So thank you so much for spending your Sunday evening, as they say in the institution that I was in. I was before the Indian Army. If you're ever had to attack India, please do it on a Sunday afternoon at 11. Yeah. On behalf of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, I thank you all for being here with us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.